Check out this story. A black couple from the Bay are making headlines for calling out a long-time issue in the housing market. Paul and Tanisha Tate Austin recently put their home on the market after making over $400,000 worth of renovations on it. But when they met with an appraiser, their home was only valued at $100,000 more than what they bought it for. Well, the couple was so stunned by the numbers that they decided to try an experiment. They asked their white friend to pretend it was their home, even having them add fake pictures and the personal touches. And sure enough, when the house was appraised under the guise of a white owner, the value shot up by almost 50%. The couple says their experience is part of a larger pattern of discrimination that has existed in the housing market for a long time. Ladies, what do you think about this illuminating experience?
Well, this has been happening for a long time. This has been happening for a long time. So glad we're talking about this. So, okay, just real quick. At the end of slavery in 1865, Abraham Lincoln had agreed to give 40 acres and a mule to every freed slave. But Abraham Lincoln was killed. And once he was killed, the new president took that 40 acres and a mule away. So from that time until maybe 1968, there was legal housing discrimination against people of color, especially black people. And then after 1968, there was a law that was passed, but still because of discrimination amongst the banks and amongst real estate people, black people still are fighting to have, proper representation and to be able to get the housing market, which this is what people need to understand. When you have a racial gap, the racial gap is mainly because you can't purchase land. Without land, like if the slaves were able to get land, they would have been able to grow their own food. They would have shelter for their families. They would be able to start a business. But because that didn't happen, for over 300 years, black people have been fighting this racial gap with white people. Whereas if you look at the medium range, black people, maybe the racial gap is like tremendous. So the thing is that we are still fighting this to this day. Now, some people say, and there are a lot of people that's like, well, what will help cure the racial gap? Reparations. Now, a lot of people get scared when they hear about reparations, but the reason why we say reparations is because that is money that is actually not given to us, but was actually earned because black people for 400 years built and made businesses for this land and worked it. And that's money that's actually owed. So we have a lot of work to do, but I just wanted to explain about reparations because I think a lot of people don't understand. Black people aren't asking for anything. They want things to be fair. A really good movie to look at if you want to understand about the discrimination, because this is not new, where some blacks have used white people to buy housing and things. It's called The Banker. It stars Samuel L. Jackson and Anthony Mackie. So watch that and you will see just how these men had to use the white face in order just to purchase property. But it's something that we still have to work on.
It's a very real thing and it's such an important conversation, and I'm so glad that we have a show like this where we can talk about these things, because crazy enough, there are people that don't believe, that don't know and don't believe that these things actually exist. So when you bring these facts to the table, everything Lonnie just said, then put that together with this experiment, these are facts, you guys. You cannot deny that this is actually happening. You cannot deny that at this point. I'm so happy to hear there's buzz on the street of Black Wall Street, coming back and black banking and what that's going to do for the community in the sense of literally being able to take out a mortgage from a bank that'll actually give you a loan to black families. That's fair. And so these things are absolutely needed to help our communities at least have an equal and a fair playing ground. You can't, it is unfair, and this is proof of that. And it's absolutely disgusting and saddening.
It actually starts too with, we have to have legislation, but we also have to have like these banks. Back in the 90s, they did these subprime loans to black people, and these subprime loans is really what got people into a lot of debt. And where a lot of those subprime loans came from?
Yeah.
The churches. The churches had the banks got with black churches and did these like real estate seminars. And so even if people had good credit, they were given a subprime loan. So what happened is, for those that don't know what a subprime loan is, it's like you get like basically an interest rate that's zero, and in maybe 6 months to a year, your interest rate goes up $3,000 million.
You're forever paying it.
And then a lot of people have lost their homes. You can never catch up. A lot of people lost their homes, and it was all a scam. So people have to realize is that, you know, like I said, housing creates wealth, creates generational wealth. But to be honest, ladies, I mean, you're looking at these numbers. I don't know how we can catch up when we're talking about, you know, shortening the gap between the racial divide with the housing gap if we don't get some type of reparation. And it's not giving money; it's money that's owed to us from our ancestors.
Earned. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
but
all.
just psychologically, you guys, just psychologically, the fact that you're thinking, okay, this couple made improvements on their home. They did renovations. They made improvements. And psychologically, to think that the only way I can really get what this house is worth is by having my white friends. I mean, it's just so messed up. You know, that you can't even fathom that you have to even go down this right to sell something that is rightfully yours, that is rightfully earned, you know, in terms of the improvements. And it's just insane that we've been going through this for so long, and it's still happening to this day.
Well, they even said about redlining.
That was one case that was uncovered. Imagine how many cases where somebody black walked away from the job opportunity, the loan experience, the house they could have bought. I mean, even Tia and Tamara shared this short story as well, where they remember coming in to buy a home and their mom was turned away from actually purchasing a home because of their skin color. Like, if there wasn't a Dateline experience for everybody to actually reveal the truth, so many people have been denied and we're able to carry on. I have a friend who's actually a hairstylist in black, wanted to buy a property in order to open up his salon, had all the funds and all the backing to be able to get that loan, went into a bank, and bank turned him down. He had to go get a co-signer who was white with the same back. He was the one that was fronting all of the back paperwork, and he got the loan with his white co-signer. It's crazy, and I'm devastated, but at the same time, I'm more upset that this appraisal company is not going to be punished for this. Like you can only
this should be a
customer
crime.
Reviews.
Yeah, you
right.
would think.
This should be a customer
crime.
reviews, and whether or not the rest of the people care enough to blackball the company or to boycott the company, who knows? This company's going to continue thriving, doing the same thing to other people.
They should be
who
fine.
maybe or may not care. Right.
I have a family member. They're black, and right now they're looking for a house right now. And they found a house that they liked. They placed an offer on the house, and guys, they were using a broker that was a family friend. And the broker just flat out told them, super honest, the woman will not sell you the house because she says she can't do that to her neighbors.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's still happening.
I can't.
That's
because even though I want to sell you the house, I can't do that to my neighbors. My neighbors will be like, what? You let black people move into this neighborhood?
Yep.
It is disgusting. It is still very much happening today. And we need to be a part of that change. And I think the first step is bringing light to it.
And you might say, well, have your own neighborhoods. We do have our own neighborhoods. But you know what happens? They redline the neighborhood and they devalue it.
Right.
And then you can't get the money that you done put in from it. It's all a game. This is the stuff when we say Biden and Harris need to work on this. Yeah. Work on this kind of stuff, this discrimination.
Yeah. And stand together as a community. Ban these companies that have actual reviews and actual testimonies where people have been blocked from their have been blocked from their services because of their race. Like, boycott them. You guys have that power. Your dollar is power. Your dollar is a green light for these businesses to continue. So you have to withhold.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what?
Wow, guys.
People
we
keep
need to
doing the
continue
hustle.
talking about this kind of stuff.